Good morning, everybody, and firstly, thank you very much indeed to our partners, Alasdair and co-chairs, for the opportunity to present this statement, which is the communique from the Multi-Hazard Early Warning Conference, which was run here as part of the global platform on Monday and Tuesday this week. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we permanent representatives with and members of the World Meteorological Organization attending the Multi-Hazard Early Warning Conference note that the conference aims to demonstrate to countries how they may improve the availability of and their communities' access to multi-hazard early warning, risk information and assessment, and is therefore directly linked to the achievement of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015 to 2030, and in particular its 7th global target. We emphasise that high-impact weather, marine weather, climate and hydrological events such as storms, floods, landslides and droughts cause most natural disasters, representing the highest risk both in terms of impacts and likelihood. Also, due to their cascading and often transboundary effects, have devastating effects throughout the world, resulting in injury and loss of life, setting back economic and social development with huge economic losses, health degradation, poverty, damaging or destroying infrastructure, displacement of people, job destruction, and destruction of communities. We note that unprecedented changes in the climate system observed since the 1950s and the rapid changes taking place, especially in high latitudes, are likely to continue to increase risks associated the associated climate and hydrometeorological hazards. We note further that the growth of human settlements, particularly in floodplains and low-lying coastal areas, urbanisation, the rise of megacities, economic interdependencies and obsolescence of infrastructure increase the vulnerability of people and infrastructure and thus increase the risk and subsequent impacts of weather and climate extremes. We reaffirm that the overarching priorities for the WMO community are to produce information that assists in reducing losses of life and property from hydrometeorological hazards, support action that promote resilience to climate variability and change, and enhances the socio-economic value of hydrometeorological and climate services. We underscore that meteorological forecasts, products and climate outlooks with their impact analyses are made available to WMO members and other international organisations through global data processing and forecasting systems supported by a 3-tier system for weather information comprising of World Meteorological Centres, regional specialised meteorological centres and national meteorological and hydrological centres for climate information comprising of global producing centres for long-range forecasts, regional climate centres and national climate centres. We underline that the products and services delivered by national meteorological services to address weather and climate risks are essential for meeting the long-term ambitions reflected in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its Sustainable Development Goals, the priorities and targets of the Sendai Framework and the goals of the Paris Agreement on climate change. We recognise that it is essential for WMO to contribute to the United Nations Plan of Action on Disaster Risk Reduction for Resilience and to identify effective strategies and actions needed to promote and strengthen multi-hazard early warning systems in support of the implementation of the Sendai Framework. We highlight that to significantly reduce the current casualty trends and socio-economic losses due to extreme weather events, it is necessary to build on advances in impact-based forecasting technology and data provision and to provide risk-based warnings that reach communities, households and individuals. We agree that there is a need to build a basis for stronger cooperation and partnerships between national meteorological and hydrological services and other stakeholders, including national disaster risk management entities for more efficient and effective emergency response, crisis management and humanitarian assistance, better risk assessment, improved monitoring, early warning and enhanced overall response to disasters and to climate, weather and hydrological risk. We agree further that there is a need for public authorities and businesses to work together on disaster risk reduction to ensure that public and private investments in disaster risk reduction result in more resilient societies. We underline the urgency to address existing technical and human resource gaps, particularly in developing and least developed countries, small island developing states and landlocked developing countries, to strengthen or develop capacity for multi-hazard early warning systems by increasing investment and sharing of information and good practices through international cooperation mechanisms such as the International Network for Multi-Hazard Early Warning Systems to address severe hydrometeorological events including tropical cyclones, drought, abnormal El Nino and other extreme events.
Time, please.
We resolve to pursue the development of a global multi-hazard alert system that will be recognised globally by decision makers as a resource of authoritative warnings and information related to high impact weather. And we resolve to also pursue the establishment of an El Nino Southern Oscillation information system based on existing efforts to improve monitoring of ocean and atmosphere to enable meteorologists and hydrologists to predict and interpret El Nino Southern Oscillation better. We extend gratitude to the Government of Mexico for graciously hosting the conference in Cancun. We express appreciation to the co-sponsors of the conference, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organisations, and the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission for joining forces with WMO in the organisation of the conference. We call on participants to attending the 2017 Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction to acknowledge and support this communique. Thank you very much.